welcome back to my channel. I'm Dawn with Candy Cane Ridge. Today I'm going to be showing you our first block in our new quilt called Prairie Sunrise. We've got two different blocks. We have block 1, which I have called Around the Garden, and block 2, which I have called Wildflower Meadow. So this whole quilt finishes at 48 by 68 and a half. No, 48 by 61 and a half. We've got 12 different blocks, 6 of each block. And then in the fabric collection, it's called Prairie Sisters Homestead. It's by Poppie Cotton. I have fussy cut some of the squares, and those are our cornerstones. We've got stars, and then we have chickens and roosters. So come along. This is going to be 2 weeks series. Today I'm going to be walking you through block 1, and then next week come back and I'll be walking you through block number 2, and this is our finished quilt top. So grab your fabric, grab your fat quarters, and let's get stitching. All right, the fabric that we're going to be using for our Prairie Sunrise is called Prairie Sisters Homestead, and it's by Poppie Cotton. This is an older line, but I had a couple of fat quarters left, and so I designed this very beginner-friendly quilt around this particular fabric line. So you can probably find some shops that still have it over on Etsy. But it's called Prairie Sisters Homestead. Our first block is going to be a Crumb quilt block, but I call it Around the Garden. And it consists of 18 2.5 inch by 4.5 inch rectangle blocks or rectangle units. Then I'm looking at my pattern here. Then we have what I call Wildflower Meadow. We have 4 different blocks, and then we have coordinating 1.5 inch strips, 2.5 inch strips, and then 1.5 inch border around this block. So this finishes at 12.5 inches. I'm sorry, this will be a finished 12-inch block, and our Around the Garden is also a 12-inch finished block. And then we're going to add our sashing strips, which is Confetti Cotton by Poppie Cotton. And then we're going to add some cornerstones on this particular quilt. And this comes from one of the fat quarters in this line. And it's got flowers and the stars in several different colorways. So we've got chickens, and we'll have the stars, different chickens, and different colored stars for our cornerstones. So stay with me, and I'm going to walk you through how to make Around the Garden. So using this particular block as a guide, all of my Around the Garden blocks
the fabric placement is exactly the same. Now, if you wanted yours more scrappy, there is no rule that says yours has to look exactly like this. Make this your quilt and you put your own spin on it. But all of mine look exactly the same, and so I've got it all laid out right here. And we're going to start with our center 2 blocks. And we're going to put these right sides together, and we're going to stitch across using a 1/4 inch seam allowance. Then we're going to press these open, and then we're going to add our sides. So this is 1, 2, 3, and 4. So at first we're going to do 1 and 2, then we're going to add 3, and we're going to stitch it down using a 1/4 inch seam allowance. And then we're going to come over here and add 4, stitching down using a 1/4 inch seam allowance. And then we're going to stitch 5 and 6 together, stitching down using a 1/4 inch seam allowance. And then we're going to stitch these next 2, I've lost count, stitching down using a 1/4 inch seam allowance. This is all in your pattern. Then we're going to take these and fold them over and stitch across using a 1/4 inch seam allowance, pressing everything open, stitching this one. Then we're going to go back to the sides, and we're going to stitch our sides together. Same thing over here. Then we're going to stitch them on. For the top and the bottom, we're going to stitch them together, stitching down using a 1/4 inch seam allowance. Over here, stitching down using a 1/4 inch seam allowance. Then we're going to stitch it all on to our block. That will complete our around the garden block. So I'm going to go stitch this together, and I'll be right back. So we have our center and our 2 sides already stitched together. I've got this stitched together and this stitched together. Now we're just going to fold it over, stitching across using a 1/4 inch seam allowance, pressing our seams open for the top and the bottom, and then we're just going to keep going around. All right, I'm just lining these up. And I want you to see, you know, I'm not perfect. My seams can be off. My cutting can be off. I'm off just a smidgen. I got too much hanging over right here. Just a tiny little bit. So I'm going to put that one on the bottom. I can't tell you the scientific reason why, but a lot of times it fixes it. And I want you to see, looky there, that came out just as nice and neat. There's just a minute amount hanging over. So we've got this center finished. Now we're just going to add our sides, and then we're going to add our top and our bottom, and our block 1 will be finished. Now it will make it a whole lot faster and simpler if you just chain piece. Gather everything that's supposed to be stitched together and just run it through the sewing machine. Use your diagram and come back, put it all back together, and then just stitch it on. There we have our finished Around the Garden block number 1 for our Prairie Sunrise quilt.
I hope you enjoyed this tutorial for block number 1, Around the Garden. Come back next week where we will work on block number 2, Wildflower Meadow. So get all your fabrics together, hit that like and subscribe button, and don't forget that bell notification. I'll see you next week. Bye-bye.